beautiful session. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. You can hear me okay? Yes. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Kirchor Gopinath ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Premanand. Thank you very much. I would like to thank, first of all, Murali Dharan Prabhu for the opportunity to speak today, wherever he may be. I would like to thank you also for your kind attention. So today, as it's the last stretch of this month of Kartik, has everyone been observing this Kartik Mas, Kartik Vrata? Yes. So this is a special month for us as Vaishnavas, particularly Gaudiya Vaishnavas within Iskcon and beyond. During this month, we especially home in on this particular pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna to the grinding mortar. Has everyone heard this pastime before? You can raise your hand. Yes, I think most of us would have heard it. So today we won't be narrating this pastime because I think many devotees in the past have already done this. But what I would like to focus on is that special love that enabled Mother Yashoda to bind Krishna in the first place. This is very fascinating. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is bound. And so we would generally think this is not possible. He's the Supreme Independent Person. Now before we continue, I'd like to first of all offer some prayers. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vanshakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So to begin, I'd like to bring your attention to a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 14, Text 20. It goes like this. Na sadhayati mam yogo, na sankyam dharma udhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yatha bhaktir mamorjita. The translation goes like this. My dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. Krishna is explaining to his dear devotee, Uddhava here, that only by devotional service, and specifically unalloyed devotional service, pure devotional service, Krishna can be brought under control, and not by any of these other methods. So in the purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, it is said, one may make Krishna the goal of mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, etc. Yet such activities do not please the Lord as much as direct loving service, which one practices by hearing and chanting about the Lord and executing His mission. Srila Rupa Goswami states, Jnana karma dhyanavritam. A devotee should simply depend on Krishna and should not unnecessarily complicate his loving service with tendencies toward fruitive work or mental speculation. The residents of Vrindavan simply depend on Lord Krishna. When the great serpent Aghasura appeared in the precincts of Braja, the cowherd boys, completely confident in their friendship with Lord Krishna, fearlessly marched into the serpent's gigantic mouth. Such pure love for Krishna brings the Lord under the control of the devotee. So this is very beautiful. Krishna is only approachable through devotional service. He says this in the Bhagavad Gita as well. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavam yaschasmi tattataha tato mam tattato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. It's not the only place in the Bhagavad Gita that he's explained this fact. Even in the 11th chapter, after he revealed his universal form to Arjuna, and Arjuna requested Krishna, please withdraw this form, it's very fearful. I want to see again that two-armed, beautiful form of Krishna. So after Krishna did that, he explained to Arjuna, the form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. This is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, actually. That only through devotional service can we understand Krishna. Why is that? Well, Krishna is not some result to be gained by fruitive activities, some material activity, pious activity prescribed in the scriptures. He's not a fact to be understood through our intelligence. He's not some mystic perfection to be attained through yoga practice. Krishna's a person. We have to always remember that Krishna is a person. Like we are all people, we are all individual people. And Krishna explained in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Na tvivaham jatuna samnatvam name janadavaha, na chaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayamataparam. We have always been individuals. Never was there a time when I did not exist, Krishna said, nor in the future, nor you, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Eternally, we are all individual persons. Each of us is an individual soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna himself is the supreme person. Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam, it's said in the Upanishads, that all of us are eternal, nitya, but Krishna is the supreme eternal person, the original, the source on which all the other living entities are dependent. Nonetheless, he is a person, a very special person, a perfect person. Bhagavan means that he is full of 6 opulences, all strength, all knowledge, all beauty, all renunciation, all fame, etc. And yet he remains a person, and he has similar qualities to ours, or rather we have similar qualities to him. as we are part and parcel of Krishna, a drop of the ocean will have similar qualities to the ocean. The ocean is salty, the drop will be salty. Only the quantity is different. So Krishna is complete, and we are minute, very small spiritual sparks. Lord Brahma, in his Brahma Samhita, he says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure, unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. Yet he is a person, possessing the beauty of blooming youth. Krishna is a person. And this is very significant. Sometimes we dehumanize God. We have an impersonal conception of God. But God is a living entity. And that means that our approach towards Krishna has to be personal. That's bhakti, bhakti yoga. It's our personal approach to understanding Krishna, the absolute truth. Not through karma, not through logic, through jnana, study of the Vedas, not through sacrifice, not through yoga. Bhakti means we're trying to establish a personal relationship with Krishna. And because Krishna is a person, this has great implications if we want to understand him. Think about an ordinary situation between ordinary people. If you want to understand a person, if you want to understand their heart, their mind, the deepest aspect of themselves, you may speculate by looking at the externals, what may be on their mind. They say sometimes the face is the index of the mind. So you may have some ideas. But the only way to really know that person is to establish a relationship. And that person will reveal their mind to you. They will open their heart to you when you have a relationship of loving trust, affection. So this is how we should approach Krishna, actually. We should approach Krishna with a desire to re-establish our lost relationship with him. And Krishna being the infinite person and us being finite, minute, there's no way we can understand the infinite. The only way we can understand the unlimited is if the unlimited reveals himself to us. Not by our own endeavor that we can ascend up and conquer Krishna by our small brains. Krishna has created the very brains we're using to understand him. It's not possible. So only by his mercy we can understand and appreciate Krishna. Therefore we have to take this humble approach of establishing a relationship of loving service toward him. And then we have a chance to know Krishna. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also, Ye yata mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanuvartante manushya partha sarvasha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Krita. He reciprocates as a person, just as anyone else. If you treat someone nicely, they will be inclined to have a relationship with you, and if you ignore someone, they will not come around. And Krishna, being a person, if we treat him impersonally, if we don't approach him, if we ignore him, then he will also remain in the background of our life. And then we may not believe God exists at all. But the reality is that he, being a supremely independent person, as the Bhagavatam says in the very first verse, is Swarat, supremely independent, then he reserves the right not to reveal himself to anyone and everyone. Just as you yourself may not reveal your heart to anyone and everyone. You'll behave very formally with certain people that you don't know so well. But with certain people that you have a relationship with, of loving trust and affection, you can reveal a more intimate aspect of yourself. So relationships can be formal or informal, right? And the more intimate or informal the relationship, the more of that person you can know. The relationship that you may have with your spouse, your husband or wife, is the most intimate. They know things about you that no one else will know. And also your relationship with your parents, your friends, and then there's maybe your co-workers or your boss, a little more formal. They don't know as much about you as a person. So God also has different relationships with his devotees. Those relationships can be of two kinds. They can be what's called Aishwarya or Madhurya. Aishwarya means formal, where the devotee is approaching God as the Lord, the Supreme Master, and it's surrounded by a sense of reverence and majesty, that I must be a little fearful because he is the Supreme Lord after all. This is the mood or the relationship which is pervading in Vaikuntha, in the planets of Lord Narayan in the spiritual realm. Lord Narayan is seen as the Supreme Lord, and his devotees worship him with great reverence and respect. But then there's the land of Vrindavan. And as we heard in the purport here, the devotees of Krishna in Vrindavan have a different relationship with him, one of more intimacy, Madhurya. And that love, that relationship is what is highlighted in this month of Kartik between Mother Yashoda and Krishna. And it's that pure love that ultimately binds Krishna. So let's hear more about this. For Krishna, being God is ordinary. He's God by default. He always has been and always will be. And that's not going to change. And there's no threat to his position. No one can take that position. It's just who he is. It's his position. And he knows it. And for him, it's not special. It's just ordinary. For us, we think it's very special. We would love to be God. In fact, that's why we came to this material world in the first place. Because we wanted to taste what it's like to be the supreme controller and enjoyer of the material energy. So we have this material universe where we can try to be little controllers, little Ishwaras. But Krishna's Ishwara Parama, Brahma says, Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karma. He is the supreme Ishwara, Parameshwara. And we're all small little Ishwaras, little controllers in our little circle trying to control this material world. But if you notice, it doesn't work out for us. We're not the supreme controller, actually. So for Krishna, this is just ordinary. What's special for him is to experience what it's like just to have a loving relationship which is not based on his status as God, where he can forget that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all, and he can just be himself and have loving exchanges with his devotees. This is the mood of Vrindavan. You can also think, just to give a material example, of a person in a very high position, like the president or the prime minister. He's got a very powerful position, and a lot of people approach him because of maybe some benefits they may get by having that connection with him, right? So he gets so many people coming to his office just to see him only because of his position, not because of him, who he is as a person. But that same person at home has relationships with his mother, his wife, his children, his friends. He's got hobbies at home, things that he likes to do just as himself. And then he's got to go to the office, he puts on his suit, and he does his professional work. But really, that's not what gives him the deep satisfaction in life. What he looks forward to is, at the end of the day, going home, taking off the suit, and spending time with his family, and doing those things that he actually likes to do. So Krishna is the same. When Krishna is on the job, he is Vishnu. He's got his armor, he's got his weapons, he's controller of the world. But Krishna at home is, God at home is in Vrindavan, where he's just playing with his friends, with the gopas and gopis, tending the cows, stealing butter. These are the things he likes to do just for the sake of it, not because he has to do it. The material world he creates actually for us, because of our material desires. Not because of his desire, really. He desires to please us, but he doesn't have an independent desire to create and maintain and destroy the creation. That's for us. What he likes to do is to play. So he explained to Prahlad Maharaj, I understand time is almost up, we'll try to wrap up shortly and have a few moments for questions. But I wanted to share with you this very interesting passage from the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, a part of the Naradiya Purana. After Lord Nrsimhadev broke out of the pillar, killed Hiranyakashipu and saved his dear devotee Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad was approaching him in a mood of reverence. And Lord Nrsimha, who is also none other than Krishna, in the form of half man, half lion, he told Prahlad Maharaj, "My dear child, please give up this attitude of fearful respect that your reverence toward me has produced in you. I do not so much like this sentiment in my devotees. Instead, just feel free to express your love for me. When a devotee looks at me without hesitation and speaks to me affectionately, my pleasure grows with every new moment. Although I am eternally free from all limitations, such behavior binds me with ropes of love. Although I am unconquerable, my devotees can conquer me, and although I am subject to no one's control, I become their subordinate subject. I belong only to him who has shown his love for me by giving up all affection for family and possessions, and such a devotee also belongs to me. Neither he nor I has any other friend. My desires are always automatically fulfilled, but I take various births in this world just to bestow on my devotees the satisfaction of all their desires. So please tell me what you would like from me." This is Lord Nrsimha, mind you. He's expressing what he actually is looking for in his devotees, what really captures his heart and his mind. And in another passage, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the mind of Krishna is revealed. He says, "All the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me." He's not satisfied with this reverential mood. He appreciates, of course, and we should all begin our devotional journey in this mood of reverence. This is very important for us as sadhakas, as devotees, practicing. But we should understand also the internal desire of the Lord, is for true love, void of reverence. So we can ask ourselves, if Krishna were not God, would we still love him? This is a very interesting question. Because the Brajvasis emphatically will say yes. We love Krishna for who he is as a person. In fact, they're not even aware of his divinity. Mother Yashoda, she loves Krishna simply as her darling child. She's unaware of his divinity. And her love for Krishna is so strong, it blinds her of his godhood. That love is so powerful that it covers her perception of his divinity, even when it's right in front of her eyes. In the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami has written the mind of Mother Yashoda, how she perceives the various happenings in Vrindavan. She says, because I and my husband have worshipped Vishnu constantly, Putana and other demons have been destroyed. It's because of our worship of Vishnu. That's why Krishna is protected from the demons, from Putana and other demons. It's not that Krishna has destroyed these demons. No. Krishna was protected by Lord Narayan because of our staunch devotion to the Lord. The two Arjuna trees were uprooted by the wind, and Vishnu protected him. It's not Krishna who dragged the grinding mortar and felled the two Arjuna trees. No, it was the wind that crashed the trees down, and because of our worship of Vishnu, Krishna was unharmed. I saw with my own eyes that Govardhan was held up by my husband, along with Balaram's help, because of worshipping Vishnu. How would it be possible for my baby to perform all these difficult tasks? Yes, Nanda Maharaj was holding Govardhan. We see the picture that Krishna is holding up Govardhan with his finger, but we see also the cowherd boys are holding up with sticks. So in Mother Yashoda's motherly affection, all she sees is that Krishna is being protected by something, and that must be God. And Krishna, of course, there's no question that he could be that Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's just my darling son. So just to close here, when Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Ge Gata Mam Prapadyante, I will reciprocate proportionally. The Brajvasis took advantage of this promise. And they have such a depth of love for Krishna that he's unable to properly reciprocate that. Mother Yashoda has such a deep maternal love for Krishna, void of any majesty, any reverence, any sense of godhood. She sees Krishna only as her darling child. And to reciprocate that love, Krishna becomes subordinate to her as his mother. And he assumes the role of her child completely. That's what it means to reciprocate proportionally. Anything less, his promise would be broken. So, although the entire world is dependent on Krishna for sustenance, he is crying for Mother Yashoda's breast milk. Although his name is feared by fear personified, it's said in the Bhagavatam, first chapter, that the very name of Krishna causes fear in fear itself. But that same person who is feared by fear is running from Mother Yashoda, afraid for his life. And although the world is bound by his material energy, he becomes bound by her ropes of love. This is the strength of the love of the Brajvasis, headed by Mother Yashoda. And it's this kind of love, unconditional love, Unconditional means loving Krishna not because he's God, but because he's the most wonderful person, the most wonderful child, the most wonderful lover, the best friend. This kind of affection is what Krishna craves in his devotees. And it's that kind of love that ultimately conquers him and causes him to become subordinate to his devotee completely. So, time has run out. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Perhaps we have a moment if there are any questions or comments. Okay, anyone? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Yashoda Mai ki, Shri Kartik Ratha ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Very, very good. Okay, let's put our hands up in the air with our hearts full of gratitude, thanking Mangalananda Prabhu for sparing time for us today. Thank you, Prabhu. Hari Bol! Thank you so much, Prabhu, for sharing that love that binds Krishna with us and talking about also the glories of this beautiful Kartik month. Now, how many of you have joined us for the first time? I know I asked this question before the session, but asking it one more time because there's a reason for that. So how many of you are joining us for the first time? 1, 2, anyone else?